Hello and welcome to episode 260 of the Small and Supercharged podcast with Ria Freeman. Well, on today's podcast, I'm delighted to be joined by Katrina Midgley, who is part of Stable Events. But if you are a horsey person, you will know Stable Events as the new organisers and more for Blenheim. But if you aren't a horsey, you'll know them as the people behind, I was going to say the game fair, but it's not just that, is it?
No, we've got several events now. We run the GWCT Scottish Game Fair. We have a Welsh Game Fair also with the GWCT. I should say that's the Game and Wildlife Conservation Trust. We also run an art fair in London, in central London, in Berkeley Square, which is just absolutely gorgeous. And we have the World Gunmakers Evening in London. So it's quite a wide sort of breadth of events and what have you, but it's all centered around apart from the art fair, I suppose it's centered around country sports and the countryside, and people who enjoy that lifestyle. So yeah, no, it's a variety. It's very varied
and busy.
Super
busy.
Yeah.
So let's start with you. Can you talk to me about you and your background and how you found your way into what you do now?
Well, I've always been involved in horses since I was very small. I was in pony club when I was younger. Didn't do a great deal of competition because obviously my family weren't horsey. I didn't get those opportunities. But then when I started working, I got my dream job with Horse and Hound. And I was an account manager for them for quite a few years. It was absolutely, it was amazing to work with when it was in London. So I was in Kingsreach Tower overlooking the Thames, but then also working with horses. I mean, what's not to like when you're a 20-something-year-old? I then had children and was fortunate enough to then sort of move across to organise the Horse and Hound event. So at that time, they did about 40 different events, and it could have been anything from their little hut with one person in it at a point to point, up to running the stand at Badminton and Burley, where I had a team of people and we had merchandise and so on and so forth. So that was kind of my first toe in the water for events, but it was on the other side, if you like, because I was an exhibitor. And then obviously I took a career break then and ended up coming back into events when I worked for a company called TRMG doing the show guides. And for that, it was Royal Windsor Horse Show, Olympia. I also did the Crufts, Kennel Club Crufts show as well.
Oh, wow.
So I was then on the other side of the fence. And it was through TRMG. They bought the Game Fair about 6 years ago. And that's how I ended up in events. Absolutely love it. It's so busy that you don't know what you're doing from one day to the next. Really, everything changes every day, and you've got to be able to think on your feet. And I just love that kind of environment. When the tender came up for Blenheim Horse Trials, it was kind of a natural fit because it is my passion, eventing. My daughter's evented, and since she's gone to university, I really miss it, so I still go. But no. It was just a natural progression to then for us to pitch for that.
So what does it involve being an event organizer? Because as you say, most of us are the other side of the event. Obviously, lots of people listening to this will go to trade shows to exhibit, whether it's things like Blenheim, Badminton, etc., or local ones. So I think lots of people will know it from that point of view. Lots of people will know from the going to an event point of view and enjoying the event. But what do you do? Because it's a huge job, isn't it?
It is, and we've got a really good team here, and within the team there's a girl that looks after operations, so she will look after all the marquees, or the infrastructure, the water, and that's a huge job in itself because it's dealing with all the contractors. My role with Blenheim is to oversee all of these different factors. But I don't, so I will speak to Catherine about what's happening with the marquees or what's happening with the water or where we're going to put the horse walk and things like that. Equally, on the other side, we've got a marketing team. So they will look after the website, and they will look after press releases, and then on event, obviously deal with, look after all the media on the days and the messages that get sent out. marketing's job is really to maximize on advanced ticket sales, and then on the event to make sure that everything, the message that's sent out is the correct one. So my role is certainly with Blenheim is a bit of a conductor in that respect, is to make sure that everyone's got what they need, and that everyone that everything's in the right place at the right time. It is absolutely crazy, you know, running up to the event. There are so many things that as you're approaching an event, you're thinking, oh my God, I've not done this, I've not done that. But it does somehow all fall into place. And especially if you've got the right people doing the right jobs. I went up and I helped at Chatsworth Horse Trials. So Patricia, she's one of our TDs for Blenheim, and we went up there and helped. So it was really nice to be on site there. It's a similar sort of team on the horse trial side. So these are the people that look after the actual event on the, you know, the horse part of the event on the day. And it's really encouraging when you see everyone just knows what they're doing. They all fall into their roles. They all work together because they've all got the same goal in mind, you know, to deliver a horse trials safely for everyone and have a good spectator sport for the visitors. And that just makes it so much easier when you've got the right people doing the job. If you want to micromanage everyone, you can't do this role if you're a micromanager. It's impossible. You'd end up in the funny farm.
No, there's so many moving parts, isn't there?
You have to trust people to do the job that you've given them to do. So, you know, delegating those roles and having the confidence in those people to get on with it is really important, but then keeping one eye on it to make sure it's going in the right direction. And I suppose that's that element for Blenheim Horse Trials. For the game fairs, I do a different role. I look after features and content,
right?
Which is again a huge role. But then I don't get involved in, you know, James Gower, the MD, does that role, does the other bit. So yeah.
So Blenheim Palace International Horse Trials, it's a stunner of an event, but it's been through a few changes over the last, I don't know how many years, but it's moved around. It's been in different places with different people running it. So as you say, the tender came up, you obviously went for it and you got it. Why did you go for it? What made you think actually, yes, this is what we want?
Well, the demographic fits with our other events. And believe it or not, having different types of events, you have different sponsors speak to you, because at the end of the day, a sponsor is usually somebody who's got a personal interest in what it is you're delivering. So be it the game fair, or be it a gun dog event, or be it horse trials, it's usually because somebody within that organization has got a passion, and it opens conversations. So for me, it was a personal thing, because I love horse trials. So for me to run Blenheim Horse Trials is just like a dream. So it was a no-brainer for me. For the business, it has a wider meaning, because it means we have conversations with people that we might not have elsewhere. And really, running any event, it's about making it sustainable. We saw a lot of events go by the wayside during COVID, and it's because basically there are so many costs with running an event, and it can run out of control, and keeping control of those is really hard, because obviously we all want to have all those little extra fluffy bits, but at the end of the day, it's about delivering the sport and making sure that it's sustainable and pays for itself.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I've been to Blenheim Horse Trials for ages, on and off, and the venue is just breathtakingly beautiful, isn't it? I think a lot of these big horse trials, you've got Badminton, Burghley, there's always that kind of incredible house palace in the middle, but there's something about Blenheim, isn't there?
It is. It's just such a stunning location. I was there for a site visit last week, and admittedly, it was a beautiful day. It was sunny, and the lake was still, and you've got that iconic bridge over the lake, and it's just, you could just sit and stare at it. It is beautiful. And also the history with the palace, you know, you're somewhere that has, you know, stood its time and has, you know, has its place in history. It's really, really fabulous. And that, you know, that in itself adds a gravitas to the event. You know, one of the things that the Jockey Club did that that was a really good thing that we've held on to as well, is when you arrive and you're going through that shopping village, the main aisles, as you walk down the shopping aisles, you can see the palace in the background. So, you know, even when you're in the shopping area, that where you are. And I think that does give visitors, that's a lovely thing to have as a visitor as well, that you're not just shopping on any high street, you're at Blenheim Palace.
Yeah.
And it's, and you've got all these wonderful things to try and see and do. And plus you've got the horse trials. So, it's win-win.
I love that idea, actually, because it is. I was up there a couple of months ago for an event, and as in not a horse event, well, it was connected to horses, but anyway, and it's just stunning. But I loved all the history of it, but I also love how they are so forward thinking in preserving, improving. They've got their eyes on the future, haven't they, to make it so it will continue to stand the test of time. And I really loved that vision as well.
Yeah. I mean, the estate are hugely encouraging on so many different levels. I mean, when you work with these estates, they have lots of different pressures on them, and they have to run events because they themselves have got to be sustainable. The roof needs doing, or the lake needs dredging, or whatever. And it costs a lot of money. So holding these events for them is really important, but it's also a massive imposition. So you imagine the horse trials, you've got the parking all over. I mean, you only need to look at what happened at Badminton earlier this year with the rain.
Yeah.
The repair to that ground is just, I mean, it's going to take years to repair that ground. Yeah. So, it's what happens when you run outdoor events. You are beholden to the weather. So for an estate, these are things that they have to sort of repair, look after, and and they've got some. So like before us, there's Salon Privé, which is a beautiful, very, very exclusive event. And so they'll have structures up that have to come down before we go on site and things like that. And the estate is really, they work with us on it, and they say, right, well, if that's happening there, maybe we can do this around there, and also with contacts for possible sponsors, for new ideas. If we come up with a new idea about, we might want to use the 4x4 course, they're very engaging, and they'll say, yeah, okay, how are we going to do this? Not, oh, I don't think that's a good idea. So it's really nice to work with them and find them so encouraging and so accommodating, because they're not always.
No, I can imagine. And as you say, they have got all these pressures. They have got to preserve and protect, but also it does need to, the costs for these places just to run and exist are insane, let alone when they need work doing, like lakes dredging or things. So it has to bring the money in, but not to the detriment of the local area, to the neighbours, to the fabric of the building. It's a real juggle. So to have that support must be really, really special and help you really get the most out of it.
It is. It's great, and it's actually much better than I anticipated it. I didn't anticipate quite how supportive they would be. So it's really lovely.
That's always good. That's always good. So this will be your first year at Blenheim, won't it?
As organiser, yes. As
organiser, sorry, as organiser. So obviously you're still in what's going on, but I know you can't release everything yet. But why should people come? Why should people make their way over to you in September, or make way over to the Blenheim in September?
Well, Blenheim it's okay. You've got Burley a couple of weeks before, and obviously we're very conscious of that. And we know that I would always go to both. If you're a horse trials person through and through, I would go to both. But Blenheim is different in the sense that I always find it much closer, if that makes sense, in terms of the public can get much closer to the riders. They can get much closer to their heroes, if you like. So if you're looking at it from a horse trials point of view, there's a few things that's quite unique about it. That 8 and 9-year-old class is a really exciting class to follow. You are looking at the horses of the future. You're looking at the Olympians of the future, both from the riders and equine side. Blenheim will go in the riders' calendars as a goal at the beginning of the year, and it'll be something that they campaign for with their horses through the year, to make sure that they get the right qualifications in order to enter. And, it's a goal in mind for progression. So on the horse trials part, it's a unique class, and it's not something you'll see anywhere else. For the non-horsey person, it's a fantastic shopping experience. We have got, you can go down the high street and you get all your sort of your chains and what have you, but we have loads and loads of shops that are, boutique shops that aren't equestrian related, as well as having the ones that, you've got your usual big air equestrian and Townfields, and you've got racing colours and people like that. So if you've got horsey requirements, yes, you're going to be able to do your shopping there, especially coming into the autumn. You're going to need your winter clothes, your winter rugs, things like that. But from a general shopping side, there's loads of fashion things. And then, of course, you know, there's the food area as well. Everyone loves the food area. We've got a big screen set up there. So you can go down there, you can buy your picnic and you can watch the action. You can also buy an actual pre-prepared picnic and make a thing of it.
That's a good idea.
That, and it's not on the website yet. I'm going to get shot. But we are going to be doing hampers so that people can they can buy a hamper on site. So they arrive with their friends. You can buy your front row parking if you like down by the lake. So you get a front row seat, buy your picnic, and sit and spend the day watching the horses go through. So it's a beautiful day out with your friends.
That sounds like perfection. That's amazing.
I think it's a better thing to do. I mean, there are loads of things, and we're very consciously trying to make sure that there is something for everyone, you know, for non-horsey as well as horsey people. You know, the demonstrations in the Blenheim Arena will be fun and entertaining. You've got the Shetland Grand National. Everyone loves the Shetlands. You know, we've got the bit on the side saddle crew who are hugely entertaining. They're not stuffy at all, and they're really, really funny. And there's a few other things yet to be announced there. And then we are going to be doing this evening event with Jeff Billington, which tickets are going to be released for that very soon.
Oh, he's a hoot. I mean, whenever you see him, he is incredible.
I remember watching him. He probably won't thank me for this, but I do remember watching him probably 20 years ago at Olympia, you know, when he used to come and steal somebody's drink from the Royal Box area as he was drinking, you know. So it's an act he's been perfecting for years, and he's going to team up with Tom, and they're going to do an evening with on the Friday night. So yeah, there you go. There's something exclusive that's yet to be released.
I'm very excited about. It's going to be amazing.
That's going to be such a fun evening, really, really fun evening. And you don't have to be horsey to enjoy that evening. And we are hoping that will mean that people, certainly local people as well, will be able to come and enjoy the horse trials for that reason. Because it's it's just an entertaining evening at Blenheim Horse Trials with a bit of shopping.
I saw Jeff in action at Your Horse Live, and he had drawn a 6-pack on his stomach.
Oh yeah, photos of that.
yeah, that's kind of that lives in my head.
But he said he was doing bareback jumping, so he just took his shirt off. No.
Oh my lord, he's amazing though, and he's such an icon in equestrian sport. But as you say, he's absolutely not stuffy, and he's just good fun to watch, whether you're horsey or not.
Yeah, so yeah, no, we're looking forward to that as well. So lots of reasons to come along to the event, not just horsey ones.
Definitely. So I'm also really excited because there is a new thing at Blenheim which I'm involved with. That's not a reason not to come, quite the opposite. We've also got like Jonty Evans involved, who's amazing, about the talk area, which is super exciting. I'm excited about that. Are you?
Oh yeah, no, and that's one of the things that, again, people want to engage with the riders. They want to know how that, you know, what they're doing, how they challenge things, what their aspirations are, really, I suppose, and also to get tips. You know, it's a really, you know, to get those little tips from your icon is really, really important. But also, I think the stage is going to be an important area to discuss, you know, topical issues that are very relevant in the horse world, not just in horse trials, but, you know, across all the disciplines. You know, horses are really, they're very British, if you like, if you get what I mean. You know, it's a British thing to have, and they engage with people on so many different horses on so many different levels. So, you know, they're used in therapy, they're used to, you know, for leisure, and they're used for sport. And there's a message that we can deliver through the stage for that as well. So I just think that it doesn't necessarily have to be horse trials related to the chat stage. We're going to talk about things like social license. We're going to talk about regaining confidence after you've had a fall. And I know you've got a whole load of exciting people that you're going to bring along to meet people and to talk about these different subjects.
I think you're right. It is I think our vision for it is very much, we're going to have some incredible people there, but it's a really good opportunity for people who are watching, the audience, to get involved, to ask their questions, to learn, to listen. In my head, it's like a proper interactive experience where everyone is kind of involved in their own way.
I like to think so. Yeah, that's certainly our vision, that we want people to be involved and feel that they're part of it.
Completely. And it'll be good because I'll probably be eating, stuff I find around the place. So I need to be running around to burn off some calories. So I'll be running around with a microphone. I cannot wait for that. The other thing about Blenheim is that it is a horse trials, but you've also got other things going on different days, haven't you? The Thursday, the Friday, you cover off different things that other people can come to Blenheim and actually compete as well, don't you?
Yeah. So, I mean, the big thing there is the Eventer Challenge. Very sadly, the Jockey Club decided not to run the Eventer Challenge. Well, as a Pony Club DC and as a mother of a child who's been and competed there, it was a real blow, because it's again a date in your calendar. When you're setting your calendar for the year, you've got the obvious ones like Pony Club Champs, the areas and things like that, but then you've also got certain classes that you really want to attend to, because I don't know, half of these kids would never get a chance to compete at Blenheim, but if you're doing the Eventer Challenge, that's great. And it's twofold, because it's a real family outing. They want to go and watch their child competing in this fabulous environment. And then they can also enjoy the day as well. So on the Thursday, we'll have the riding clubs with a team event. And this is at the 90 centimetres and 100 centimetres for an Eventer Challenge. So that's show jumping and fixed fences in a course, and all to an optimum time. The exciting development that has not happened before, though, is we've moved the 100 ring to incorporate the dew pond. So
wow.
That is not only going to be in the heart of the retail area, but it's also going to have a water complex in it, which I'm just really excited that we've been able to do. And again, that's another example of how David Evans, for example, our course designer, has just said, yeah, sure, we can do that. And he's really worked with us on it. So, and I think, certainly for the riders in that 100 class, that's going to be a really nice thing to have. It just makes it different from other ones. So,
absolutely.
And then, of course, we've got the retraining of racehorses dressage. It's their championships for the southern region. And that will take place in the Blenheim Arena on Thursday and Friday. And it's a really important class. Again, it's a responsibility. It highlights the responsibility of retraining these wonderful horses who may not have made the grade in racing, but certainly have a job to do elsewhere. And we will be giving a prize in the Eventer Challenge for the best retrained racehorse as well. So again, highlighting that, these wonderful thoroughbreds are not just for racing. They do lots of other things.
I think it's really inspiring when you see horses, ex-race horses particularly, doing other jobs really, really well. And you see normal, in inverted commas, horses doing amazing things. Because I think when you go to these big events, you see the absolute pinnacle of the sport that are bred for that job, who are trained by the best in the world. And that can feel, it's very inspiring, but not necessarily attainable. But I think when you see people doing these challenges in the ring with their ex-race horse, it's aspirational in a very different way.
Oh, absolutely. And what we also have to remember is that these classes, certainly on the Pony Club day, a lot of these young Pony Club people, it is inspiring for them. And then I know, for example, David Britnell, for example, he says he remembers doing the Eventer Challenge and saying, one day I'm going to compete on the big class. And he's done that.
Oh, wow.
And I think there are several riders that could say that they started obviously in Pony Club, and they were allowed to go to these wonderful venues. I mean, Burley has their team show jumping as well. And it is inspirational. I think it's really important, and it shows them a path. And sometimes, one year we were very lucky. We had Kitty King come and do a course walk in the challenge. What an amazing opportunity for these kids, to have that opportunity. But then talking about the horses, of course, there was all that excitement about the cob that went around the the grassroots at badminton.
I love a cob. I mean, I've got a cob, so whenever I see a cob doing anything amazing, I'm like, go on.
No, I mean, it's, they're little heroes, these horses. They really are. And, no, he's not built for eventing, but look what he did. It's fantastic. So it's about giving opportunities at the end of the day.
It's going to be great to see so many people there, so excited about it. It's competing for their club, or it's going to be brilliant. I can't wait. And I know when I've been speaking to Jonty and looking at the talk schedule, we're going to make sure on those days we've got some incredible chats with people who are going to be absolutely bang on for Pony Club, Riding Club as well. We've got a cunning plan, people. It's great. So if there's someone that hasn't been to Blenheim before, or maybe someone that has been before, but obviously you know a lot more about the things you've got going on, what can they do to make it a really brilliant event? Because actually they can probably start doing things now, like getting their tickets, because they're already available to buy, aren't they?
Absolutely. So certainly make sure you've got your tickets. Parking is free.
I love that. I am angered when I have to pay for parking, and I know I shouldn't say that, but it's the truth.
It is a little bit of a sting when you've bought your passes and then you have to pay for your car as well. I mean, there's lots of reasons to do it apart from the feel good factor. It does help us get traffic off the roads. It means you're not going to be sitting in queues waiting to get in.
Yeah.
And another real bugbear for visitors when you're going to an event, when you're sat waiting, you're there but you're not there, and it's really infuriating. So yes, certainly make sure you've got your passes booked. We've made sure that if you want to get into the members area, you get your members day pass. Again, that's available online. We have grandstand seating available for dressage days and show, well, it's available every day, of course, but if you want to sit on the centre line, if you're a real dressage nut, make sure you book a centre line seat in the grandstands, and then you'll be able to judge as the judges judge and watch the scores going up and go, ooh, I wouldn't have given that, but so that's something you can do in advance, and also plan your day. I mean, we will put up the schedule on the website, so you can plan your day, so you know which acts you want to see when. And if you're there in a large group, arrange a meeting point. A food hall is always a good place to meet. If you haven't booked a picnic table or a car parking spot, arrange to meet them down at the food walk area. Everyone's got to have lunch at some point. You've got the big screen there, so you can all go off and do. So somebody obviously wants to go shopping, somebody wants to go and watch the Shetland Grand National. You can divide and then come back and reunite in certain areas. Just try and plan your day. And obviously with the cross country, it's on. But don't forget, it's on both Saturday and Sunday. You can watch cross country. I think a lot of people miss out on that fact. So you get action for 2 days, which is really good.
Absolutely. So you can buy your tickets online through the website, and will you be selling them on the gate as well, or do people need to book in advance?
No, you can buy your ticket on the gate. We will accept, walk-ups. That's fine. I mean, obviously, don't forget there's camping if you want to spend a longer period. You can buy a pitch and stay for the whole weekend. I know a lot of my friends, certainly they make it a sort of a little girly weekend away, they all camp for the weekend and have a load of fun over the 4 days. Yeah.
And there's something quite exciting happening Thursday, Friday, isn't there?
Yeah, so we have been speaking to the BHS, who are very keen to partner with us, with Blenheim Horse Trials, that is. And with that partnership, they are proposing to offer all BHS members a free ticket on Thursday and Friday. So you can come and enjoy the horse trials. On those days, you'd have to buy a ticket Saturday and Sunday, but certainly on the Thursday and Friday, so the Riding Club day and the Pony Club day, if you're a BHS member as well, you'll have free entry.
Amazing.
Details for that will be on the website very soon, and I'm sure BHS will be communicating with their members.
And then even better opportunity to spend the money that you would have spent getting in on lovely things for yourself, delicious food.
Yeah, absolutely. Lovely things for yourself and your horse, don't forget.
Obviously. And maybe a dog.
So yeah.
No, That's awesome. And I think, I mean, what a great excuse to come over. You don't, you know, even if it's free, it's even better, isn't it? Even better.
You know,
Bring your friends.
everyone needs a bit of help at the moment, and you know, it doesn't matter if you've got friends who are not BHS members. Obviously, you get your ticket; they'll have to buy their ticket, but you can spread the load. It's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah,
To be honest, I think that the free parking is a really good thing as well. Not just because I'm against parking charges, but I think that, as you say, if you're paying for a ticket and then some events you go to, the car's somewhere between £10 and £20 to park the car. It's extra, isn't it? And I think that does take away from the money you spend at
yeah,
event.
yeah. No, it is. It's very hard. But as I said right at the beginning, these events do need to be sustainable. They need to make their money. And gone are the days when it was £10 for a car and as many people as you could squeeze in. Because I
Yes,
remember those days.
absolutely. No, it is absolutely a balance. And if we don't support these events by coming, they just won't
Yeah,
exist, because they do have to, as you say, be sustainable from lots of different points of view and from a business point of view as well.
yeah.
So, thinking about your job as event organizer, what are the kind of tricky things that go on behind the scenes that we're not meant to know about, but we'd like to know about, that make your job just a little bit more taxing?
Um, oh, passes are always a nightmare when you've got all your exhibitors. And so at the moment, we're doing the passes for the game fair, and it always takes a lot longer than you anticipate. The admin side of it, it is the detail that I feel is important because it can make a difference on the day. And you know, there are so many things that go on inside that, yes, you're absolutely right, visitors would not have a clue about. But as an organizer, you're going, oh my God, has that happened? Has that happened? But most of the time, I'm trying to think of an example for you. You know, the big things for visitors, the big things that really matter are loos.
I was thinking toilets. I was literally thinking toilets can make or break a day for me.
If you don't get the toilets and the catering right at an event, you will get slated.
Yeah.
And that goes across all events. It is the first thing that people will moan about, and it's actually more complicated than just putting a porter there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that you've got things like that. That is always a worry, is having enough loos. I mean, you know, having too many, you're wasting money. Not having enough, you're going to get in trouble, you know. And it's just, and sometimes you're not quite sure what your visitor numbers are going to be on the, you know, if you have a really sunny day, you're going to get more visitors,
Yeah.
but your loos have been booked 6 months ago. So
It's been an absolute nightmare thinking about it like that, actually.
you know, that it's a very boring subject, but it is absolutely crucial.
And
So
you're absolutely right. When I see people usually kicking off on social media about when they've had a bad time at an event, it is often because there aren't enough loos, or they have to queue for 40 minutes to go to the loo. And that obviously takes away from their enjoyment of the event in lots of different ways. And they get very cross about it.
yeah.
But I would as well. I don't enjoy queuing for the loo, and I want to be doing other things, spending my money, having a drink.
And then when you get there, the loo's messy, it's horrible. It's, you know, especially if you've got children with you, and it's like, don't touch anything, you know. But thankfully, we've moved away from the long drop days, so it is a bit. So that's long gone, thankfully. But yeah, no, it's always a challenge to get those things right, and that's where having, you know, that's my operation manager's role, to make sure she gets that correct. And then the other thing I should point, I mean, that's unique to horse trials and Blenheim, is the volunteers. You know, we have an army of volunteers, and you know, it's about 450 different volunteers filling 600
Wow.
over the weekend. It's a village in itself.
Gosh.
You know, they are priceless. You cannot put a value on a volunteer. And they all need to feel, you know, you can't do the job without them. And it's, you know, they're doing it because they want to, not because they're being paid. So it's like, you've got to make it worthwhile for them. And I think I mean, we're very lucky at Blenheim, you know, the volunteers that we have, a lot of them come back year on year. Many of them have long service awards, because they love being a part of it, and they love being a part of Blenheim. So that's something we have to maintain. And I you know, as an organizer, I'm very mindful of that, you know, that they feel valued. and not taken advantage of. So
I mean, if anyone's listening to this and would like to be a volunteer, do you have any spaces? Or
I think for this year, again, this is something that happens quite a way. There was a tab on the website that was available for a form for people to fill in. So if you are interested, there's no harm in filling that form in. I think we're in the process. We have heads of department, if you like, and they're in the process of selecting their volunteers now.
sure.
But certainly for future years, yeah, no, definitely. If you want to get involved, then fill in the application. It's just on the website.
And is there anything in particular that you personally are really excited about for the horse trials?
Oh, that's a tricky question, actually. I don't know. I mean, because as an organiser, you don't always actually get to see the event. I know that's daft, doesn't it? For me, it's about being part of, an iconic event, part of a journey for these riders and the horses. And yeah, I mean, I get a buzz when I'm at an event, seeing everything come together. That's where I get my buzz, and watching the visitors and seeing them enjoy what you've built.
Yeah.
That's where I get my fix, I suppose. And yeah, I mean, obviously, it's from the horse trials part. It's watching these, these amazing riders and horses ride the course, and you've been there from the beginning, from when it started, and all the different. Yeah, it's a difficult one, that really. But yeah, the buzz for me is the finished product. Obviously, at the end of the day.
Do you get to go to the stables as well when the horses are in?
Yes, yeah.
See, I'd love that. And go meet those horses. And when you see them whizzing around the Olympics, you can say, "Oh, I know that horse. We're best friends."
There is an element of that, and it's being on the inside track, isn't it? So
yeah.
And again, it's equally, in the stables on after cross country day, it is alive. It's absolutely, and the thing that always strikes me with horse trials is everyone helps everyone else. They're so encouraging. If there is somebody having a bad day, or if there's a horse that needs a bit of extra, I've seen other grooms get involved. And like certainly when they're cooling the horses down at the end of the track, and everyone's waiting there with their buckets.
Yeah.
Rider to come back, but whilst they're waiting for their rider to come back, they will help the other grooms cool down their horses, because obviously that cooling down process is really vital.
Yeah.
And we've learned in the recent years about cooling horses down.
Yeah.
So it's all hands on deck, and I do love that they all help each other. They know that groom is going to be off with the horse and not there to help them, but they know another day that it will be reciprocated. So, and certainly on that, on that Saturday evening, making sure the horse, the massaging and walking horses off and making sure that they're fit to compete the next day. It's a really exciting environment.
I think as well, when you see the riders as well, obviously they're in competition with each other, but horse sport's different. When you see them, doing their final phases, obviously they want to win, but you can also see a lot of the time their genuine delight when their friend wins, someone that they've supported and been with. I think that's really special and quite unique.
Yeah, I mean, when you see the, like the winning rounds and what have you, yeah, they are rooting for each other. They all know. Of course, they all want to win. But yeah, no, I love the atmosphere. It's a really, I always find it a really good atmosphere.
Definitely. Is there anything else you would like to add about the event or what you're doing before I ask for all the places where people can follow you online, get their tickets? And we'll actually remind them of the date as well, because I don't think we've said that.
No, that's quite important, isn't it?
Fairly important, yes. That's my error. I should have said that to start with, just because I know when it is.
Well, I suppose really I'd like people to come and enjoy being at Blenheim Palace primarily. Enjoy the sport. Bring somebody along with you who maybe hasn't been before. Especially if you're a BHS member and you're getting your ticket for free.
Yeah, definitely.
Who's never been to horse trials before, and just have them experience the day out. It's a really it doesn't have to just be for horsey people. It's lots of people go racing, they go to polo matches and they haven't got an interest in horses. It's about spending a day out in the park watching these athletes, having your shopping, having something wonderful to eat, and enjoying being at Blenheim Palace, really. So yeah, my answer is there's bring a friend. Bring a friend before and share the sport.
Absolutely. Have a good day out And hopefully, I assume you've booked the weather. It's going to be great.
Of course.
Brilliant. Well done, you. To be honest, September, though, can be utterly beautiful, can't it? It's not too hot, can be beautiful.
Fingers and toes crossed that is the case. Yeah.
Everything crossed.
Yeah.
So where can we find Blenheim online?
So if you go to we have a website where you can purchase your tickets. There is a ticket tab, and it's at BPIHT, that's Blenheim Palace International Horse Trials.co.uk. We also have all the other information about the add-on bits that you can purchase, like your hampers, grandstand seating, day membership, and there's information about the other features taking place. We have, dog agility, and various acts taking place in the demonstration ring. You'll also find there a list of the exhibitors, so you can plan your shopping, which is really important.
Which is a key part of all of this. And they can obviously follow along on Facebook and Instagram as well.
Facebook and Instagram accounts, yeah, where you get, we're announcing as exhibitors book, we're announcing them on there every week.
Brilliant.
And hopefully as we get closer to the event, you'll get some rider blogs and some more information about who you're going to see.
Brilliant. Amazing. Well, I'm excited for it. And I can't wait to, I really just love the whole Blenheim area. I think it's just absolutely stunning. So I can't wait. And I'm sure anyone that comes will have a fabulous time. Thank you very, very much for joining me today. It's been great to talk to you, and I'll see you very soon.
Yeah, looking forward to it.